Good morning, travelers! Today, from Piazza dei Miracoli in Pisa. You see the tower behind me. No need to tell you anything more. But maybe I should tell you about another interesting thing that starts from here. It's called the Aqueduct Way, a route you can walk up to the old town of Lucca. It's about 15 miles long. I'm gonna take it easy and spend the whole weekend hiking. A couple of days to spend in the countryside of Pisa in Lucca, in the hills following the path of two old aqueducts built between the 16th and the 19th century. Really nice, but one step at a time. Come with me. The actual route begins inside the ancient city walls, in Piazza delle Gondole, where the arches of the aqueduct also begin. I follow it and in few minutes I'm hiking in the countryside. Quick stop here in the shade, it's getting hot. Maybe some of you are thinking, why is he going from Pisa to Lucca? Actually, I'm doing it backwards. Let me explain. This is a 15 miles long hike, so you can do it in just one day, if you are in good shape. Nothing impossible. But usually people walk it in 2 days, from Lucca to Pisa. I'm going from Pisa to Lucca because I prefer to do the things my own way. Because the only place where to stop and spend the night is Vorno. Vorno is a small village at the foothills closer to Lucca. It's about 5 miles from Lucca and 10 miles from Pisa. So I prefer to walk the long chunk today. There is also a difference in height of about 2000 feet. And on the second day, take it easy to get to Lucca. Before climbing the hills of Pisa, I passed through the small village of Asciano, where there are fountains where to refill my canteen. Along the route there are many fountains, so don't overload your backpack with water and stay light. Do you see the 6 balls up there? That is the emblem of the Medici family. The aqueduct was commissioned at the end of the 16th century by Ferdinando I de' Medici, and his son Cosimo inaugurated it in 1613. This is the cisternone, the huge tank where the water was stored to decant. And I would like to dive in this water since it's really hot today. Unfortunately, the building and the aqueduct have been working until the early 1900s, so there's no water anymore. The route goes uphill, luckily in the shade. Just follow the signs or the old underground water pipe. This place is called Scarpa d'Orlando and is where the water was drawn from the springs and then carried into the aqueduct. This is a point where everyone is going to have a break, I guess, because from the Cisternone up to here you have to walk at least 40 minutes on a steep slope, so it's time to rest. I climb the hill now on a wider and less steep path. The wood of holm oaks and cork trees becomes sparse. Here I can see the view of the Pisan hills before getting to Campo Croce, the highest point of the route, where I enjoy a break in the shade before going downhill towards the promise of Lucca. Along a path that is a bit into the wild and sometimes wider, but always beautiful. And luckily fresh, thanks to the Vorno stream. I follow it and I get, indeed, to the small hamlet of Vorno, in the late afternoon already. Ah, 10 miles. Done. I'm in Vorno. So nice to be at the B&B. There is a fresh breeze, now I chill out, and I just have to decide where to go to have dinner. See you tomorrow. Viaggiatori, good morning, hikers. I'm refilling my canteen at the fountain of the church. I remind you not to overload your backpack with water. You find a lot of fountains along the way. So now, last 5 miles to Lucca. Let's go. This morning, the first part of the hike follows the diversion of the Franciscan Way. From the Astronomical Observatory of Capannori, I have a great view of the hike of today, with the aqueduct that runs to the city of Lucca in the background. Right in the greenest Tuscan countryside, with beautiful villas scattered here and there, I enter the woods. And in few minutes I find the trace of the aqueduct, which make its way through beautiful green meadows. The Golden Words. No, not my words, it's the name of this area. This is a spot where the water coming from the Serra Vespaiata was drawn. This area is so called because the peasants of the time, we are in the 20s of the 19th century, mistook for gold words that had actually been forged in brass, on a memorial stone on the aqueduct. In 1823 the Duchess of Lucca, Maria Luisa of Borbone, commissioned the architect Nottolini, hence the name of the Nottolini Aqueduct, an aqueduct to provide Lucca with water that until then was scarce and murky. This area is called the Golden Words because in those years the inscription forged in brass was new and probably well polished, so the peasants thought it was made of gold. I'm in the right place, at the right time. Everything works. I don't check the map anymore. I don't look at the clock. I play with the filtering pits, that is the manholes of that time. I stare at the surrounding villas. I scare away the frogs and just enjoy the flow of the aqueduct, of the countryside, of my time. And soon, too soon, I get to the temple of Saint Concordio, where this great route ends. I take the underground passage of the train station and through the fortress of Saint Colombano along the beautiful ancient walls of Lucca, I arrive in the old town, where I stroll on shady alleys and squares enlivened by tourists, before I end up my journey in the Cathedral Square. Here I am, my hike ends up here. Amazing! I leave you all the information and links in the description of the video. Just one thing, the path is well marked, but in some spots, especially when there are detours, in my opinion it's not very clear, so I leave you also the GPX track. As usual, I remind you to subscribe my channel, let me know what you think, put a thumb up, and I guess that's all, adventurers. See you next time!